everybody. My name is Jezebel Montero, and I am your host today for the Lizzie, Gary, Bibi, and Trish Gay podcast promo show. This is the show that we bring you every week. We bring a new artist to tell you a little bit about the show and to express and share their experience during quarantine when we did the show. Now, it's a comedy podcast, the first of its kind, people. I'm serious. There's a couple of little comedy podcasts creeping about. I'm now seeing, but we are the first to do this. It's a narrative comedy podcast series, half-hour format, literally like a sitcom, put in audio form. So it hasn't been done. And let alone this kind. This is the first of its kind, LGBT, female-centric, multi-generational, multi-ethnic. Okay, we're full of diversity, we're full of inclusion, and this is what I want to do with my company and Fuacata Films. So what we need is your support, guys. Right now, hit that subscribe button, follow us, continue to support us, because we want to bring you the full season, and we can't bring you the full season if we don't have the support and the followers that want to see this kind of content. Okay. I'm going to go to our guest today. This is very exciting because what I find so fascinating is that he's, this classically trained Shakespearean actor. And we're doing this crazy zany comedy, podcast comedy. So he has an incredible voice. I love him as a voiceover artist. I can't wait to see him perform when the theaters are open again. But we're going to introduce you now to this amazing actor who plays Gary, Fernando Lamberty. Come in, Fernando.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's good to see you.
Likewise, good to see you too.
Well, wait a second. This is the first time we ever see each other face to face.
It is, yeah. We've been doing a lot of chatting via phone and email, right?
I know, yeah. So this is crazy.
Well, virtual face to face, I guess.
Yeah, virtual face to face.
Certain restrictions are preventing us from meeting.
Of course. We're fully aware. That's why I turned this TV series. This was supposed to be a TV series, and we were going to shoot the pilot this year. I turned it into a podcast, and so here we are. We'll go into your credits in a second because I'm very impressed. And so tell me a little bit about where you come from, why you became an actor. Tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm originally from Miami, born and raised, lived there all my life. My first introduction to theater, where I was thinking about it as a life choice, happened in the 4th grade. I saw a production of Babes in Toyland at school, with a lot of friends of mine who were in theater classes in elementary school. And I remember watching it and I was thinking to myself, I can do a better job than that. Let me give it a try. So very arrogant 4th grader. And I was like, yeah, let me just do it. Had that bravado of a young person, just like, let's go for it. And the next year I signed up and I absolutely loved it. And I just kept going with it.
So when did you move to New York?
So I moved to New York, January 30th, 2012 was when I moved.
Oh, wow.
So over 8 years now that I've moved.
Okay, yeah. Fantastic. So you knew by the 4th grade. I actually knew by the 1st grade. Wow. I knew by 6. Yeah.
Right. You beat me then.
I think so.
Yeah.
There are kids that feel it that young,
Yeah.
What made you start doing voiceover?
I always kind of instinctively latched on to the vocal traits of whoever I was talking to. So I always had a good sense of that. I was always good at picking out voices, especially I watched a lot of cartoons when I was a kid, and
my God, yes.
Across different shows, I could always hear, oh, that's the same voice actor. They're just doing something different with their voices. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I really thought about going into voiceover work and making that tilt.
And what's your background? What's your background as far as ethnically? Because it's Fernando Lamberty. So you've got a little bit of, just something and something. You're, mixed over there. So what is it?
A little bit of a hodgepodge. So my parents are both Puerto Rican. So my mother's from the island. My father was born and raised in New York and Brooklyn. So they're both Puerto Rican. But the name itself, while a lot of people think it's Italian, it's spelled with a Y, which is actually a German spelling, a German derivation. So about 4 generations back or so, apparently there's a lot of German, European influence in the family.
Oh, wow. So, well, we won't talk about why that's a Lamberty, but that's a whole other show.
That's another podcast entirely.
That's a whole other show. Okay, so I'm gonna just rattle off some credits.
Yeah.
This is wonderful, Fernando. You've done Othello at the American Shakespeare Center. Where's that?
That's in Stanton, Virginia.
Stanton, Virginia.
Hmm.
And you played Othello, the title role.
I
How
did.
was that?
I was fantastic. That was actually my
Hmm.
second time playing the role. I had booked that job through a recommendation from the director of the previous Othello.
You also did The Merry Wives of Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
And you played Master Page with the American Shakespeare Center. Another actor, Trish,
Yeah.
Mario Sotero, he played Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. So he was in that too. But
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
played Judah. You did a Spanish version of Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at
Mm-hmm.
Dade County Auditorium, which I'm very familiar with. I lived in
Yeah.
Miami too. Like most Cubans and Puerto Ricans, we've lived in
Yeah.
Miami.
We all came from somewhere from there.
We all came. We all ended up there
Uh-huh.
somehow. So you did that in Spanish. What character did you play?
I was Ruben. I was one of the older
Hmm.
brothers of Joseph. Yeah, Jose el
Great.
Soñador. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh my God, and so you speak fluent Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't know that. I'm just learning that right now.
Yeah.
Because you're not playing a Spanish character in Lizzie, Gary, Bibi, and Trish. So I didn't assume that. So
No,
you're
definitely.
fluent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts spot, which I've actually seen, and I love.
Oh,
I
have
can't
you
believe
really?
that's you. I can't believe that's you.
Yeah. That was
That's
a blast.
great.
Yeah, they had us hoisted up and on these giant cranes, and we're just like flying back on our chairs because we're just blown away by these Dunkin' Donuts espresso drinks.
I
It's
know
absolute blast to play. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the commercial. I'm very familiar with it. I love it. It's great, great. Okay, so we're gonna get into the show, and you were recommended by another very good friend of mine. Michael Leon.
Yeah.
That he said he went to FIU with you, Florida International University in Miami. I'm very
That's
familiar
right.
with
Yeah.
that too. I was my ex-husband. I was married to somebody from there, so that doesn't bode well with the school
Oh
because he's
no.
my ex. So, but no, there's some good stuff that comes out of FIU. You and Michael, and so he recommended you, and I couldn't find the perfect Gary. We had a lot of auditions. We had 100 demos that we looked through, and
Oh, wow.
a lot of people auditioned, and they weren't quite right. They didn't mesh. They didn't get the rhythm of what was going on. I think that might be a Latino thing. I don't know, but but you got it, and we were very excited. So how was it recording during quarantine with me on the phone, directing you, and all this kind of stuff? It's the first time you did something like this, right?
Very first time. Yeah. It was an experience. It was very hot. Let me tell you. A
Really?
closet becomes an oven
Oh,
when you're in
right.
there with the
That's
computer.
right.
Yeah. I had just it was a fortunate time when you'd called me. I just recently renovated my closet space to become a makeshift
studio.
studio essentially. Yeah, we had to just kind of punch and roll as far as that was concerned, and
Right.
luckily I'd gotten all my ducks in a row just before you had contacted me.
What
I'm
about
impressed that I was able to do it over the phone and you were able to hear me well. That was nice. That was choice.
right? Right? No,
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
worked. It worked. You got to do what you got to do.
Of
Necessity
course.
is the mother of invention, right? Totally, totally. So how do you feel about Gary? And did you connect when you read the script? How'd you feel about it? Did you connect with the character? Have you ever played a gay character? Tell me a little bit about playing Gary.
Yeah. Gary, he was actually really very fun to play. I've never played a gay character before. I don't think that really
Matters.
mattered. That has nothing to do with how he is with all of his friends, how he reacts to his family, how he deals with his work life. No, what I admire about him is just how brave he is in terms of how he deals with everyone. I cannot be as candid as Gary is in daily life.
Really?
No. I'm generally a bit more reserved, a bit more shy, and I imagine he's probably that way, with his parents. But with Lizzie and Bibi and Trish, no, he just lets it all out, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fantastic.
Well, they're very close. They're very close.
Absolutely.
It's if I were to compare it, it's like, Will and Grace, or even Seinfeld, or
Hmm.
Friends, all those kinds of formats where the friends are very, very close. The friends are family. So, they're actually closer than they are with their
Closer than
family,
family, yeah.
that kind
There are
of thing.
definitely things I wouldn't tell my family, like Gary did. I'm like, I'm gonna pull the curtain back on that just a
Yeah.
little.
Well,
Yeah.
there's an episode that, because he has Mormon white parents, he's
Right.
adopted.
Yes. Yeah.
And they live in Utah, so they come and visit him. This is I think the third episode. Hopefully we'll get to record that.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny. He pretends to be married to Trish in order to convince his parents that he's straight, but of course it all comes crumbling down.
Of
So
course.
of course, but they're good parents and they love him, and that's the moral of the story. I think what's great about the character, he's a fashion designer and he owns his own company. So I think that's really important too when you're talking about certain characters and certain stereotypes. They're all kind of bosses. They run their own show, the four of them. So I was deliberate in doing that. So maybe that's why he's very straightforward and candid, because he's a boss. Although he's being sexually harassed by his assistant, he can't tell her.
Yeah, of course. It's like, but you can't be that brave in all aspects of your life. I mean, there's got to be a chink in the armor somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, what are you working on next? You want to tell us, because we're going to wrap this up. So we want to talk to us about anything you're working on next.
I've been auditioning a fair amount, actually. So I've been trying to get that back for myself. I'm in the process of recording some new work that I've been working on to add to the site and further my career. And then been writing something myself a little bit too on the side.
That's
not going to speak on it much yet because it's still like in the infancy stages, but yeah.
Oh, Fernando, that's great. You see, I'm all about that. I'm all about people creating their own work, generating their own work, because you can't always, wait by the phone. You can't wait by the phone. You can't wait for others to give you opportunities. Sometimes you have to create your own opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
It's so great having you on the show. We're going to go now, but thank you, Fernando. Good luck with everything, and we'll see each other soon.
Thank you, Jessica. It was a pleasure.
Bye. It was a pleasure, Fernando.
Goodbye.
So that's it, guys. That was Fernando Lamberty. He plays Gary in our situation comedy podcast called Lizzie, Gary, BB, and Trish. Okay? You need to listen to the first episode, the pilot episode. It's out now. It's on this channel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow us and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It's everywhere. Just listen to it while you're working out. It's half an hour. While you're working out, while you're driving. I'm your host for the LGBTQue promo show. I'm Jezebel Montero, writer, producer, director, and performer in Lizzie, Gary, BB, and Trish. Okay? See you next week. Adios.